Bal, good to have you with us. What did you think when you heard the news of Paula giving back that CBE?
Thank you. I'm a little bit numb, to be honest. Hearing the news at the moment, it seems like a forced hand. It doesn't feel like it's a genuine kind of returning of something. I think as one of the GLOs, one of the 555 sub-postmasters, it doesn't feel very sincere. I think ultimately where there should be a statement or something, I have faith in the inquiry that maybe that would bring something out, and we'll hear more about what she has to say for herself. But I think it feels a little bit like an empty gesture, to be honest. We're all still fighting for every penny. We haven't received anything of the GLO. Despite what the government tell you, only 5% of the people have actually received compensation. Those figures are basically collective figures gathered over a period of time. Sorry, it's quite overwhelming to hear this news. I think I'm still processing it. So.
And you're completely within your rights to be overwhelmed by it, Bal. I'll give you a moment to try and process what I guess will be really significant moments to you. Now, Ms Vennells did, when she announced she was handing back her CBE, Bal, she said she did release a statement, and she did say she was truly sorry for the devastation caused to the sub-postmasters and their families and their lives that were torn apart. She then says she's going to carry on helping the inquiry. Bal, I know you will have told Wilf this as well, but it's worth reminding our viewers. Just tell us about how you were affected and impacted by the Horizon Software scandal, and when it came to light that they were going to prosecute you for you doing your work.
Sure. So, I mean, in 2003, 2004, I just got married. I took over 2 post offices in Oxfordshire. I kind of made a plan and worked very hard and saved money with my family to sort of build a life here. It was swept away from me literally overnight. As a 23-year-old, I was handed £100,000 debt, which was ridiculous. I was put in a position where I was never means tested. I was paying 30% of what I earned as just any kind of casual work I could get to pay them back. They were extremely aggressive. They painted a picture of me as a fraudster to my family, and that expanded to the wider area and people who knew me. We live in the shadows, Kamali, to be honest. Yeah, we wait for not just our redress, but for justice, for sure.
So her saying she's sorry for the devastation, that strikes you as hollow, does it?
Yeah, and I'll explain a little bit more why. This is all very prominent in the news now, but we're talking about a saga which has gone on for 20 years, where there's ample opportunity, not just to have been sorry, but to actually do things. If you had genuine remorse, surely that would have been evident somewhere along the way. She was the person who could have asked the questions. I mean, in terms of what's come out in emails that were sent and everything else, she was only asking questions to protect the brand. She wasn't asking questions for the well-being of her postmasters, who were the lifeblood of the business. I think the model itself, it's become dilapidated because in any company, you take the best people out of the business who would have drove it forward. You're going to end up with a business that can't run. And I think, I think it's empty and very easy to say this side of the fence now and wash your hands of it. But I think, I mean, I went to a Roman Catholic school as a child. I value those ethics and those lessons and remember them well. But with an apology, there's other ways also that you need to do to redeem yourself. And I think she's got some way to go. And she could be really, make herself a pivot, a point to really address this and bring all the truth out into the limelight. I don't think that would happen. And so it does feel empty. And to be quite frank, I feel quite numb still at this stage from hearing the news. So I do apologise for that.
No, Bal, no apologies necessary at all. It's completely understandable. Your life was torn apart by all of this. Now, our viewers may not realise, but Paula Vennells was given her CBE in 2018. Of course, by that stage, they were well aware that the Horizon scandal was taking place. The convictions had all been ongoing. They stopped prosecuting people, I think in about 2015. So this was after the fact, and she was given the CBE for services to the post office. Now, I was speaking to Nick Wallace yesterday, Bal. You'll know that he has written a book on this and worked on the drama. And he said something which I found fascinating. He talked about the fact that in the post office, in the senior management levels, and I'm not saying this was Paula Vennells, but amongst some of those people who were running the post office, they had this sense that sub-postmasters were stealing from them, and that they were so willing to believe that the computer system was telling them the truth that they wouldn't believe all the hundreds of people they ended up prosecuting wrongly. Did you get the sense that, you know, when this started coming out, no matter what you said, no matter what you offered in terms of evidence, they thought that you were stealing from them and they were going to believe the computer, whatever you said?
Absolutely, and Nick has been really powerful in this and very helpful to me personally during my mental health struggles, I must say that. On a personal note, I think beyond that, it was systematic abuse. I don't think it was a case of them trying to say that we'd stolen from them. I think they worked out a system of how they could basically steal money from people and then position it into their profits. I mean, I remember a specific occasion when my accounts balanced £100,000 in surplus, which had no justification, didn't make no sense whatsoever, and they basically swept that away and put it into a suspense account, which later would have been turned into profits. So I think there was a systematic abuse, and I think they did it in a way by isolating us as individuals. What happened to me recurred again to my mother many years later, and so, you know, lightning struck twice on our house, and I would say that it's difficult to just think that it was even though it was the accusations and calling us thieves or spreading rumors that we're fraudsters, more than that, there was definitely a plan. You know, when I look at it now over this period of time, it was a corporate plan. There was a way it was structured to bring down individuals and take away their equity and assets. I mean, they specifically said in my case that my father had money. He should pay my debt. And they pursued me aggressively to the nth degree for everything I had. I had to, and bless her, my ex-wife, we had to pawn her wedding ring. You know, it's just ridiculous. And so, yeah, I'm sorry, but an apology at this stage without any action, and particularly with so many of us without a penny of compensation. You know, only 5% of the 555 sub-postmasters who took this to court with the leadership of Alan Bates have received money. And despite what was said in Parliament, that's a skewed figure. It's not an accurate figure of what's going on.
She's handed back the CBE now, Bal, as we've seen. From the way you're talking to me, you're still hugely hurt by what's happened. Yes. What would you want to see happen, you know, in the coming days, weeks and months to give you and your family the kind of redress that you desperately need and that you deserve, Bal, as well?
Yes, I would like to see the action really speeded up. There's so many obstacles put in our way. And I think if we're talking in comparison to what's going on in terms of with the inquiry, I think, you know, from Paula Vennells, beyond a statement would be some kind of willingness to give information on who else was involved. I mean, the hierarchy of that company, down to the people that dealt with us, as in investigators and area managers, it was rotten to the bottom from the top. And so there's many people who are answerable for the effects they had on our lives. And I can't speak for everybody, but I can only say from my perspective, and I like to think I'm a forgiving person, and I try and empathize with her and think, okay, you know, maybe she was misguided, but it just doesn't add up for me. I'm sorry. At this stage, I feel it's an empty apology forced on her hand, really. So.
Balvinder, look, that's an entirely justified and understandable position to take, and I do appreciate you coming back and talking to us. I know this can't be easy, but you've told your story very clearly and passionately, and we appreciate you making the time, Balvinder Gill. Thank you very much.
Thank you for giving me the time. Appreciate it. Thank you.